Hi, today we'll speak about the active voice, how to change it into a passive voice. Okay, we will talk today about two parts. This session will be how to form the passive voice, and the next session will be using the passive voice. Why we need passive voice into our language. Okay, as you see in this one, the part one, active sentence like she, he, the boy. As you see, she is the subject, her is the action verb, and the boy is the object of the sentence. Into passive voice, the boy was helped by her. ده مثال قدامنا ازاي حولنا من active ل passive. نيجي بقى نشوف how to form this sentence into passive voice. In the passive voice, the object of an active verb becomes a subject of the passive verb. يعني الobject, what do you mean? The object in the in first sentence was but the boy becomes the subject of the passive. We start with it. The boy in A becomes the subject of the passive verb in B. Pay attention for some important part. Notice that the subject of an active verb follows by in a passive sentence, so the main subject in the active should be followed by the word by her, by Mary, by someone. Okay? The noun that follows by is called the agent. That's a grammar terminology, we don't need it. But A and B have the same meaning. Another note, very important one, only transitive verbs. What do we mean by transitive verbs? Transitive verbs, verbs that can be followed by an object, are used in the passive voice. But it's not possible to use intransitive verbs such as happen, sleep, come, seem, go, whatever. As long as the verb that you use doesn't have object, this sentence has no passive voice. Example, an accident happened. Passive, none. No passive voice here because we don't have clear object. Part 1 for this session, form of the passive. How to form active into passive sentence. Here, we need some important parts. Part 1, letter B, verb to be. Part 2, the third form of the verb, what we call the past participle of the verb. Okay, from eat, ate, eaten. That's what we need to use. Okay, help, helped, helped. The third one that we need to use. Write, wrote, written. That's what we need to use, written. So here's the main rule is, according to the tense of the active sentence, the only verb that can be changed is verb to be. Okay, and we will see that later on. So, but the action verb, the main verb of the active sentence, must have one verb, one form only, which is the third form of the verb. Let's see some examples. He writes a story. That is the model sentence that we will use all the sentence or the tenses with this sentence. He writes a story. How to change it into passive? Part one simple present. In simple and passive and simple present is written, so the story is written. Into simple past, the story was written. Present continuous, the story is being written. Past continuous, the story was being written. Present perfect, the story has been written. Past perfect, the story had been written. Models, well, what can goes whatever the word that we use in models must use be after it instead of the form of the verb written. The story will be written. Is going to. Also after it, simple form of the verb which is be. So the story is going to be written. Future perfect will have been written. That is how to use the to change active into passive in every tense. But pay attention for some important part, which is any progressive form of the present perfect or past perfect or future perfect are very rarely used in the passive. Okay, so in other words, we don't change sentence with present perfect progressive, past perfect progressive, future perfect progressive. Okay, we don't change the active into passive in these sentences, in these tenses. Let's go to some simple exercise. Number 1, change the active into the passive. Tom opens the door. Okay, so here what you need. Again, be sure that you use verb to be in a correct tense, and the main verb, which is open, must be into third form of the verb. It doesn't have another form, so you must be sure that the main verb or the action verb in your active sentence and passive sentence must be used into third form of the verb. Okay, so what we need to change? We need to use only verb to be in passive sentence according to the tense. So the answer is the door is opened by Tom. Perfect. Number 2, Tom opens the door. Change the object in active into subject in passive. So we'll start with the door and then open simple past. So we need verb to be was or were, and then the third form of opened. So the door was opened by Tom. Number 3, Tom was opening the door. That's past continuous tense. So here we'll start with the door and was, and we need ing form of verb to be. Okay, so the Tom, because we need to keep the action verb of the main active sentence into third form of the verb. So open must be opened. How we change ing? So the door was being opened by Tom. The last one, Tom is going to open the door. Is going to. Also, in passive sentence, we need to start with the door and is going to after it the main form, the pure form of the verb. Okay, simple form of the verb, infinitive. So here, so the passive sentence, the door is going to be opened by Tom. That is part 1, to be followed part number 2, which is using of the passive. Thanks a lot. Waiting for you.